think that's his way of saying yes.
Ready to go soon.
Wait, someone's camera's not muted.
Soon.
Danny, someone's not muted here. Okay. First of all, everybody say Mazel Tov, Danny. Danny had a baby. Mazel Tov. If you look closely, you see how fast they grow up already? I think the baby's there in the background with Danny, but I'm not sure if you see him now because it's all frozen. But Baruch Hashem, mommy and baby are doing fine. Tisked legadlei the Torah lechuppah the meisim toivim yudish nachitz and bris bismana beiter.
Amen. Shkirchavi.
That's Hashem. That's first of all. Second of all, I'm going to make a slight detour in Hilchos. Not really a detour in Hilchos Shabbos. I think one of the great simchas when you learn halacha. Oh wait, microphone. We forgot about the microphone. Oh, you do what you have to. One of the great simchas when you're learning halacha is I got the 10 things going on over here. One of the great simchas. Unbelievable. One of the great simchas of learning halacha is when you learn a sugya, let's say, of Shabbos, and then all of a sudden it converges with a sugya of kashrus, a Yerideitic sugya, and the taka, when a person learns Yerideiah, and all of a sudden there's mentions of Hilchos Shabbos, it generates great simcha. Where does that simcha come from? Everybody yesterday, the second I mentioned a shayla of kashrus, a shayla basar, a shayla chalav, you see the smiles on your face. You can't see it on your face. You can only see it in your eyes. You can only see it in your eyes. Only in Nussi you can see it on his face because Nussi's wearing the fancy mask. But the other people, you see it in their eyes. But when I say the word kashrus and we have a shayla about Iroy and this and basar and chalav, you have a big smile. Where does that come from? So the Maral says, he's talking about something else, but the Maral says it comes because your neshama has a desire to know kol hatarkul. And you don't even realize it. Right? Sorry? We learned in the Kallus kashrus. Yeah, Bez Hashem, say it. We did Bez Hashem. We did in the Kallus and Bez Hashem. Sometimes we chazer also. So it's part of the simcha of chazering. Also, it's a new sugya. We're learning now Shabbos for the last 503 shurim. But it's a new sugya, it's a new sugya. And when you get the sugya of like kashrus, all of a sudden the neshama feels like, this is my chance because it feels mitzumtzim and mugbal. The neshama feels like it needs to know kol tarkula. And the great simcha is when taka all of a sudden you start learning a sugya of Shabbos and it gets into kashrus, it generates tremendous simcha. If you had that simcha yesterday, it means that you're healthy and you're in touch with your neshama. If not, then you have to work on yourself. Because taka is something that's a normal reaction for a neshama is to enjoy hearing things of kol tarkula. That's a very normal thing. So the Maisa today, because I saw that incredible simcha, so I decided that I'm going to talk about a few of the cases that we spoke about yesterday and expand on them. And taka, this is really the sugya of Iroy and the sugya of Kli Rishon and Kli Sheni, and see how they apply a little bit more globally in Yerideiah. Now we're going to get to Even Ezer and Choshen Mishpat today, but how they apply more globally, the sugyas of Iroy and these types of sugyas. So I think, am I right to think that everybody would be happy about that? Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. What do you guys? You guys are frozen behind the cameras, right? So yeah, but I'm getting fingers from Fishy. Especially because Fishy knows that we're going to be talking about inyonim shel fish, a sugya which is carved to his leif, and carved to his fins. Now, is everybody saying? First of all, yesterday I was asked a shayla. It was a shayla that we started speaking about. And then I was helped by Rabbi Sher. And then I got some personal information about the greenhouse challah. And then it seems to be that there's not just the greenhouses that agree with this and concur with this. It seems to be in the Slansky household. We got a few messages over here. It seems to be that there are many that concur with this. So I'd like to talk about this. This is a very important nekuda in general in halacha l'maisa. Let's explain this for a moment. We spoke yesterday about a challah going on top of a cholin pot. I'm assuming that everybody hears me and sees me fine. Is that a correct statement? From this point, I probably won't ask. So if it's yes, good. So the challah, we spoke yesterday about challah on top of a cholin pot. How you do that on Shabbos, we spoke about with frost and whatnot, but now you have your challah on top of the cholin pot. So challah is when you have this challah on top of the cholin pot, the normal reaction is afterward to take that challah and to eat it with the fish. Are you allowed to eat this challah that was on top of a cholin pot and eat it together with the fish? Okay, so the Maisa, I said yesterday that you are allowed to, but let me explain this. This is something which is extremely important in halacha, and we have to explain this. That's clear in the Gemara. The Gemara says like this. The Gemara in Chulin, and Daf Kufiyat Aleph, and this is Gebrach LaHalacha and Shulchan Aruch and Siman Tzadi Hey. The example of the Gemara, when the Gemara wants to talk about a power of food, is fish. That's the Gemara's example. And the Gemara over there is discussing a sugya, a slightly complicated Indian of not bar not. When you take a power of food, and everybody's like, don't get nervous if you don't know anything about kashrus. I'm going to make it very, very simple. I'm going to make it so simple. You're going to think, wow, I always thought that your day is so difficult. It's so difficult. And now you see it's so easy. It's so simple. It's not so difficult. It's like everything in halacha. Once you get into the amkus of it, then that's where it gets harder and harder. But the surface level is always very simple. You get into the amkus of shver sugyas and tainus, and that's where the amkus is. That's where it's difficult. But the chulin and the yeridei, the surface level is not hard. It's when you get to the deeper and deeper. So don't get nervous. Don't get nervous. But the Gemara talks about where you have a par of food, and you put a par of food, which is boiling hot, on a plate. And the Gemara wants to discuss what's the status of that par of food once it was placed, let's say, on a fleishika plate or on a milchika plate. We know if it would be placed on a treif plate, it would take out the blias and it would become treif. So what's it then if you take any food and put it on a gender of milchiks or fleishiks? So if you take a par of, if you put a milchik food on the gender of fleishik, of course, that's a problem. Milchik food, fleishika pot, that's a problem. Those two genders are no good together. But if you take a milchika pot, we'll use right now a milchika kli, a milchika pot, whatever it is, and you put on a par of food, now I want to know, did it get so much of the gender of that which it went on to? What did we say? It went on to milchik, let's say. Did it get so much the gender of milchiks that now I can't eat her together with fleishiks? That's what the nidin of not bar not. To make a long story short, we have certain chumras that you're not allowed to do this lichatchila, but b'diavad everything is mutter. We never throw out a not bar not. It's a big yesod in life. I have a whole niggin, so we never throw out a not bar not, unless it's a dover chorif. Okay, when we learn kashrus, Imyat Hashem, oit chazay namay, we have nigunim. What are you laughing at? We have nigunim, Bez Hashem. We have nigunim also for things to remember in Zimun, right? We have a whole album, Bez Hashem. When you come into a place and you're not a part of the Zimun, so how are you going to remember the Shulchan Aruch says in Siman Kuf Tzadi Ches, that you just say, Baruch V'yorach Shmoi Tomid L'Olam V'ed. Who's going to remember that? It's enough that I remember Baruch Shachanlim Mishaloyev T'vay Chayinu. I'm supposed to remember Baruch V'yorach Shmoi Tomid. Baruch V'yorach Shmoi Tomid L'Olam V'ed. Every sugya you have to have nigunim for these things. I also wasn't sure if I can only do these types of things behind the computer screen, and now I see I can do it in public also. Okay. Balkopanim, when it comes to not bar not, you take pariv, and you take a par of food, you put it on one gender, b'diavad for sure, that food could be eaten with the other gender. Whether or not you're allowed to do this lechatchila, there are many kulas that the Sephardim have, many chumras that the Ashkenazim have, and ayin sham and shulchan aruch and yeridei sim here. Akapanim, but what's the Gemara's example of a par of food? The Gemara's example of the par of food is herring, or some sole, or tuna. That's the example of the Gemara's par of food. The example of the par of food is fish. And it says first in the Gemara, that's the example. The Gemara talks about you took boiling hot fish, you put it on a plate, which was a milchika plate, etc. Now you can take that boiling hot fish and you can go and eat it together with the other gender. That's the example of the Gemara. Now, one of the cases that the Gemara talks about over there is that you're taking boiling hot fish and you're eating it with, and you're putting it on the plate, which is the chayra, a fleishika plate. You're putting it on a fleishika plate, fleishika plate. Now we know you're not allowed to eat, and the Gemara goes on to say you could take that fish now and eat it together with milk. The Gemara is not donning a sugya of danger of eating fish and meat together. The Gemara is donning when the fish being used as a pirate food, can I now take that pirate food and eat it with the opposite gender? The Gemara comes out and says basically you're allowed to do it. Certainly, but the Evid, you're allowed to do it. The Kasha effect, the Taz, what's going on over here? You're taking fish and you're taking boiling hot fish and you're putting it on a fleishika plate. You know, that should be a problem of fish and meat. Fish and meat is a problem of sakana. So what are you talking about that it's not a problem inside the kasher? You have a bigger problem. You're going to die. Sakantis chamira makes surah. The Taz is very machmir when it comes to fish. The Taz sheet is that fish is not even batal b'shishim. When you have fish, it's not even batal b'shishim because you're going to say, it's batal. Does anybody know for sure if sakana is batal? You take a little drop of poison. It's a little drop. It's batal b'shishim. You tell the fellow. What is that? It says, a whole bottle of poison and it says that you will die. Right? That's one drop that fell in. It's about the Bashishim. Here. Anybody want to take a chayas on such a statement? So the Taz says, I don't know if fish becomes, fish and meat and sakanatic things, when things are sakana, I don't know if they're batal b'shishim, the Taz says. The Shach argues, it's a big machlekes, it's not for now. Maybe it's for a little bit later in this year. So what does it say? The Taz says, so what's going on over here? You take this fish and you put the fish inside a boiling hot fish onto a fleshika plate, onto a fleshika plate. What are you talking about, the Taz? Why isn't it a problem of sakana? Come to gain the Taz, and the Taz says from over here, a tremendous yisaid. One of the big yisaid is muyuches to the Taz. The Taz says there's no sakana. I tried how to learn exactly the Taz, but the Taz seems to say there's no sakana when it comes to blias. That's the Taz when it comes to blias of kalim. I don't know, we'll oversimplify. When it comes to blias of kalim. And the Chassam Sofer in Kuf Aleph in Yeridei explains the Taz exactly what I just said. He says, when it comes to the Indian of sakana, fish and meat together, the Gemara Psalm says, on Daf Ayin Daled, that's dangerous, or Ayin Vav, the Gemara says, that's dangerous, fish and meat together. That's because you have a piece of fish together with a piece of meat. These things are skulidik things. You understand this? You take fish, you take it with meat, you eat it together, all of a sudden, you're going to turn into a leper. You understand it? It's sakana, it's skuli. Who understands such a thing? As I say, it's like the Taz. The only time that we have the sakana is when? So the Taz, when it's actual ben, fish together with meat, right? But if you take fish and you want to cook fish in a meat pot, says the Taz, mutter, gomer, lichatchila. You took the meat and you cooked it 10 seconds ago. And now you take it, you wash out the pot, as long as you don't have ben over there, mutter, gomer. That's the sheet of the Taz. There's a minig Yisrael that some people have. There's a minig Yisrael. So I'm being asked the question over here. Fishy asked the question, how come you don't see the goyim die? How come you don't see the goyim, they eat fish and meat together? How come you don't see them? Why don't you see them die? Or at least not die, but their arms should fall off. Right? And their noses should fall off. That's right. So that's the kasha. That's the kasha. That's the kasha. Now my greenhouse has a cow. I'm getting over here. Moo. I say, ich have kasha. You see a cow? Come in. Today I was driving. It's the most interesting place in Eshar. I was driving over there by Sharon morning, and there over in the middle of the street there was a goat. It wasn't a cow. Maybe there's a goat. So such a thing. It's unbelievable. Over there's a goat. Imagine you see that goat. You see that goat walking down Eshar. And he decides to go over there. He was just walking down the street, right in the middle of the street. My kids thought this is a zoo. It's Givaldic. There was, right there, a goat right over there by Sharon Memunah. There was a goat there. Imagine you see that goat, and the goat all of a sudden eats grass. Goats eat grass. Goats eat grass. There's a Gemara about this in Baba Kama. Goats eat grass. All of a sudden, you see this goat, and he's eating grass. You say, here I am, right? Eating, and I become flay shakes, and I have to wait 6 hours. Here I am, I'm eating bread, and I have to wash, and even at the bench, right? I can just eat grass. I can just eat grass. Why? The goat eats grass. The goat eats grass, right? Little sheep, the sheep eats grass. What's the answer? It tells you like, go and eat the grass. You know what's going to happen? You eat the grass? What's going to happen over here? Next day I'm going to go, I'm not coming to Koil today, right? The whole stomach, the whole matzah. The answer is very simple. The answer is, bah. That's the answer. The answer is the goat, or the kasha, he can eat the grass because he's a goat, right? So it's the kasha that a goy, he eats this and he doesn't turn into, what's a kasha? They're made up. We have Torah mitzvahs. We have a neshama kedosha. You have a kasha that when you eat fish and meat, so your arms fall off and this. So you can say, but we see chalonim in this. That's a kasha. He smokes on Shabbos. He eats on Yom Kippur. He's paigim his neshama. He's paigim his neshama. You have a kasha on somebody that's paigim his neshama, that on such a person this doesn't happen, this type of a ruchniistic effect of leprosy, of some ruchniistic tzaras. You have a kasha? You're somebody that's Shemer Shabbos. You make Kiddush every Friday night. You're a shooter for the Kodesh Baruch Hu. You learn Torah Kedusha. What are you talking about? The entire Bria was made for you. You have a kasha that when you eat grass. Let me get back. That's the answer to your question, Rabbi Rosenberg. That's, I think, is clear? It's clear. It's clear. Okay. Akapanim. So that's when it comes to fish and when it comes to meat, dangerous. But when you cook fish in a meat pot or meat in a fish pot, even if it was 10 seconds ago cooked in there and you cleaned it out, obviously. But if you cooked it 10 seconds later, mamish, the blias of the meat, blias are in danger. That's the sheet of the Taz. The Chassam Sofer learns it the way I explained. Obviously, we're not giving shir now. All these that can't be myrish, but that's the way the Chassam Sofer learns the Taz in Siman Kuf Aleph, that the blias don't create danger. Now, What'll happen if you took fish and meat, cooked them together in the same exact pot, and now that evilness went into the wall? That into the wall. Are you going to say, well, the blia in there is not a deadly blia? Okay, that I don't know. Number one, I don't know if they would go so far. Number two, who cares? Now the Chazal said you can't do it. It's treif. Once Chazal said this, you're not allowed to cook fish and meat together. Let's call it midrabanan. You're not allowed to cook it together. I mean, you're not the product that comes out. So the blia is a food which isn't kosher. There could have been mucking for a pilpul, and there's a different malkiel who was one of the Gedolei HaPoskim in Lita, and he has a pilpul, but it's not our sugya. So, but if you want to know, I know exactly what Erwin is thinking right now. Yes, your name is Erwin from here on, even without a computer screen. So Erwin's thinking, what? But I have a fish pot. I have a fish pot. I have a special fish. You're telling me I don't need a fish pot? The answer is that Lamaisa, when I first got married, I also had a fish pot. After a while, you don't know where the fish pot went. After a while, you called the Rav and you said, am I allowed to use the fish pot for the meat? And the Rav said, oh, yeah. There's a taz in your day and some yeah. And so slowly. But in the beginning, we all have a fish pot. What's the reason why? The Torah says there is a chumrah. But you should look in the Bari Shulchan and other Achrayim. They say the chumrah has nothing to do with what we're talking about. They say that the chumrah comes from because we're afraid that you're not going to clean it out properly. That's what we're afraid of. But not because of blias. Others say because of it. But the halacha is like I told you. Thus, everyone agrees with that fish is mutter, and even the chatchila to cook in a meat pot and huadin vice versa. Obviously, when there's no meat involved, but that's close. That crystal clear. I know we're not learning this again. I'm trying to be as simplistic as I can. Everyone understands what I'm saying? Crystal clear. The guy Clar, yes? Clar. I can't ask the guys on the computer because you guys are frozen, but I'm assuming that everything is crystal clear because I'm not seeing you chatting. Okay. Number one. Number two is, now, let's go further. So Rabbi Sher wants to know, so if there's no blias when it comes to fish, and the ikr is not the blias, it's only when ben. So I'll take chicken soup. I'll go and check chicken soup. Derech Agav, who says chicken and fish is a problem? Who says chicken and soup is a problem? Who says chicken and fish is a problem? Maybe it's only meat. The Gemara is talking about a goat. How do you know it's talking about a soup over there, a chicken? Okay, so the Aruch HaShulchan says, don't start up. It's even chicken. Even though the Birkei Yosef brings Rishon, that's how we paskin even chicken. Okay, so he wants to know that if I take chicken soup, afterward and now strain it from all the chicken, I take out the chveis, the feathers, the wings, the beak, toes, everything. And all that's left is what? Is the broth of this murdered chicken. So now I can take, it's gavaldik. It's very simple. I'll take the gefilte fish and I'll throw it in there. Why? Because tam, there's no problem. So that's why we explained the Chassam Sofer. That Chassam Sofer says, no. And that's really by Mr. Taz. He explained the Taz. All the Taz said is that in blias of kalim, even though ani mamin demuna shlema, that there are blias in kalim. And if you're not a maimin in this, so then you're not one of us. There are blias in kalim, and that they come out. But that blia kanira got knocked out by the strength of the davaracher of the leprosy. I don't know what got knocked out by the kli, and that blia only has a problem with kashrus of treif and basar and cholav and chametz and all types of stuff, but not sakana. But Mashenkin, a blia of a food, that rather not. Once it went in, here the blia went straight into a liquid. It's more absorbent. That's the lashon of the shach in one place. He explains it Rama. Maybe we'll even see it today in Sari Hey, Sifit Ches. The shach explains that when it's a kli is harder to get absorbed into. It's harder, therefore, to go into. It might be easier to take out, but it's harder to go into. Whatever. But Mashenkin, a liquid, he's begging for the blia. So he sucks in all the chicken. He's got beak in there. He's got toes in there and all types of plach and dust. And now afterward, that goes into your filter, fish, and that's for sure. So is that crystal clear before I go right there? Okay, number two. Is that crystal clear, Rabbi? Like I get nervous when we talk about sugyas that we're not holding it, but everyone understands. Okay. Number three, as I say, so now we start the next shiloh. There's a very famous Chavis Das. Very, very famous. Very, very famous. Hey, look at see this. The Chavis Das says, to be back in the base medrash with a microphone, if I say. In ganzen ruhig. Baruch Hashem. Torah Kedusha. So there's a famous Chavis Das. The Chavis Das says that if you have, watch this, Kinderlach. If you have like this, or not, but the Chavis Das says, what happens if I have, give me a good example. I have, I don't know, a challah. Oh, a challah is a good example. I have a challah, and I put her on top of a cholent pot. on the lid, whatever. There's a lid there, and not Rabbi Rabbi Greenhouse, a whole wet, got a whole matzav going on over there on top of the challah. I mean, it's dry, and I put on top of the challah pot a challah. Ooh, can feel what you heard today. Technically, you could eat that challah with cheese, right? Because what is that lid? That lid is what? It's not a piece of meat. It has blias of meat. Animam and the blias inside the lid. Those blias now go from the lid into the bread. Okay, shader. So they went into the bread. Now, if I would go and make a French toast out of that, no, that's such a big problem. Can see what you heard today. It's a not or not, right? Because what's the difference between a piece of bread going on fleishik pot when it's boiling hot, let's say, whatever, right? And now I told you before that bidi eved, you could eat her with cheese, not whatever, fine, but you could eat it with cheese. So the same thing. Yesterday I was screaming that's the worst crime in the world. That if you have a piece of bread on top of a cholent pot, so I told you that's the worst affair in the world to make French toast from it. Oh, wait, the English know what French toast is? You know what French toast is, right? Yeah, no, I'm saying, right? The French toast, right? Parisian toast, Rabbi say. So then there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, right? At least with the evidence. I told you yesterday, you have to throw out the French toast, you have to kill the wife, you have to the whole business, right? The answer is because of the Chavis Das. The Chavis Das says there's a difference if something is cooking b'shas maisa. When you have mamish cholent cooking, meat cooking, b'shas maisa, on that we don't say not bar not. On that we don't say not bar not. There we say cholent kivyachol goes straight through the kli. Straight through the kli. If you don't believe this, you're a guy, says the Chavis Das, right? The belia goes straight through the kli, and then it comes out of the kli and goes into the challah. It goes straight, just like I told you yesterday, if a drop of milk goes on the outside of the pot, it goes straight through, and then you have to have shishim to be mevatel. Clear, simcha? Crystal clear? No? If you have a challah that's on top of a cholent pot, so then that's not like a pot on top of stam a lid, on top of stam something fleishik, that it gets a weakened belia. Here, the belia is not weak. Bishas Bishul, he brings rayas, not for us now, but he brings rayas. Bishas Bishul, it goes straight through. It goes into the lid, comes out of the lid, and goes straight to the challah. So therefore, your challah is not on the lid, it's inside the cholent. Clear? That's why you can't take that challah and put her together with cheese. Good? As I bezai, wait a minute. So am I allowed to take, and this is where we started this year yesterday. This is where all the trouble started yesterday, Rabbi Sher. Can I take the challah and put the challah now that I just put on top of the cholent pot and eat it with fish? So Rabbi Sher says, you can't do that. There's a chavis das, right? Why? Because till now, we said, okay, a challah on top of stam a fleishik pot. You take a challah and put it on top of a fleishik pot. No, what's the problem? Right? But here, it's ke'ilu, that challah is inside the cholent. What? But that was the shiloh. That was the shiloh. It's ki'ilu, that challah is inside the cholent. Now, Maisa, we know this is mutter because the minig of Klal Yisrael, they do this. Right? So now, Elamai will say, nope, Seder, maybe they're maratim. Yeah, but we don't see them turning into, right, a hairy schnitzel. Man, how come we don't see this guy walking down the street and go, oh, the toe just fell off, right? Walks a little further, there goes an ear, right? What's going on? So there is a Mishnah Berurah that brings the Mogen Avram and Kufayin Gimel, Kufayin Beis, where he says today fish and meat. Maybe the sakana is not betoikif, but we should hear one or two other calls. Or at least we should have a raya that fish and meat is, something should give over here. It should be, something should give, right? Something, right? They talk about people that are more, susceptible to corona. He is more of a he's got more of like an immunity and this and that, right? So it's just a person who's like, more of a halik, he should have more problems with it, so we don't see these things. We don't see it. So vice the chais, it's mutter. Says Goina Godel Rebbe Kiva Eger. Where's Rebbe Kiva Eger? Kiva Eger is in Kuftes Zayin. No, Kiva Eger is in Tzadiyeh. No, Kiva Eger is in somewhere. Kuftes Zayin, you're there, Kuftes Zayin. Rebbe Kiva Eger in Kuftes Zayin says that chavis das, with this taz, Kiva Eger is both in Tzadiyeh and in Kuftes Zayin. I just realized. But with this taz, Kalim, it's true. We believe in the chavis das. That's all nice when you're dealing with not by not. If you take that challah, you can't eat it with cheese. And if you do, you're an avarian. And even b'di evet. And it's a big shiloh. You have to kasha your pot. It's a very serious thing. But masha ein kain, with fish, when it comes to bliyas, if ever, in order to create the problem, you have to go derech a kli. Derech a kli doesn't have the ability to create the sakana of basar and fish and basar. Okay? So therefore, you learned the big insight today. If you have to go derech a keli, so then the sakana can't exist. That's it. Do you have to wait 6 hours on that challah? Asked Rabbi Rosenberg. The answer is no. That has to do with the Shach and Yeridea and Simon Pei test, Sivka and Yutest. I'm not making this stuff up. If you want to look there, that's where it is. Valkopanim, it's what's it called? That's the halacha. And now you can go gesundheit, eat your challah with the fish. Gesundheit. Now yesterday, Rabbi Greenhouse, he says to me that he said, and I say, let's go weiter. Should I just give you examples of this? Nafkamina halacha. Erev Shabbos, not Erev Shavuos, this was 2 weeks ago. Erev Shabbos, someone called up with a shayla like this. He called up that he had cooked inside the oven fish and meat at the same time. That's a no-no, Rabbi Isai. Fish and meat at the same time, that's a very, very big problem. Kimat is a Gemara in Ayin Vav, in Psachim, that says that this is illegal. This is illegal, this is a crime, it's a felony. However, the Gemara says over there that it has to do with Reicha and Zeya. And this. So he told me, no, I'm not a bad person. He said, I covered the fish and I covered the meat. The meat was covered and the fish was covered. Are you allowed to do that? Cook fish in the oven and meat in the oven at the same time when they're both covered? Yeah, I don't see why not. Why not? They're both covered and nothing can get out. So he said, so what happened? So something got out. What happened was he came over to the fish, or she came over to the fish, and she opened it up and she forgot to close it. She forgot to close her. No, so there was open, and when she opened up after another 10 minutes, she realized, Gewalt, it was cooking with the fish was half open, okay? And now the fish juice was there floating all around there, and there was fish juice. It looked like an aquarium all over onto the fleishika silver foil cover of the, I don't know what it was, I don't remember now, chicken or meat or some other carnivorous farm animal, okay? Lefi, what you heard today is that food mutter. If they would both be open, then that's awesome. So with that knowledge and what you heard today, what's the din in this case? Was I makel on the fish, on the meat? Did I make him divorce his wife? What's halach l'maisa? Kulam biyachad? Mutter lach, mutter lach, mutter lach. Why is it mutter? Because the most it is, Rabbi say, what would happen if the whole juice would spritz all over the lid of the fleishiks? If the juice, Rabbi Gilmeyer, if the juice would, were you the one that called? Was it your son? Was it you? Wasn't you? Some other good-looking guy. Okay. You know what I'm talking about, though? The juice went all over the chicken, not on the chicken itself. The juice went on the lid of the chicken. So that we just saw. Blias of sakana can't be in a situation. The blias of sakana can't be created through a kli. The sakana, can't be created through the bli of a kli. Here, what would have to happen? The liquid would have to go there. It's a blia, and then it has to go into the chicken. It has to go derech a kli. Once he has to make a stopover at the checkpoint called kli, so then it can't get through. Is that crystal clear? Now be careful when you take off the lid. I told them because you have to have seichel, it could spill in, even though it'll be batal b'shishim. You don't do these things. Is that crystal clear, Rabbi Isai? Good. Now, boss, the foil, interesting. It's a tray. It's a little bit scary because here you have it on one side and both sides. I don't know how to dog that. It's like a weird thing. It also has the juice. It has the end. You watch it, you just watch it. It's interesting. He's right. Interesting Shiloh. Don't ask Shilohs like that during Shir. Yeah, Rabbi Lieberman says don't eat the foil. He's right. No, but he's right. He wants to know, do I just wipe it off and leave it on the, it's interesting. Can I just wipe it off and leave it on the, and sometimes it's like annoying, to go and have to put on a whole new silver foil. And sometimes you have like that kishmak, and sometimes it's like one last piece. It's like it's interesting Shiloh. I wish you wouldn't ask Shilohs like that during the Shir. But Akapanim, yeah, but Morty, you should not be having leftover challah with your French toast anyways, because if the challah was on the table, so then it's a problem anyways of fleishik bread and whatnot, right? Anyways, right? Now, can I leave open the fish lechatchila? Victor Grazi wants to know. Why are you causing trouble for? What do you think? You think that your great-grandmother in Aleppo would have done such a thing? Why are you causing trouble? I'm giving you something today. I'm saying what's mutter. Don't cause trouble, right? Rabbi Elbaz, take care of this. Where's the picture? Where is he? Why doesn't he have the picture of Avaja over there? I don't know what's going on. Akapanim. It's interesting. You guys are seeing how this happens when I'm in my house. No, this is exactly. So is Rabbi say Is that crystal clear so far? Now, but let's go back. What? Yeah, no, that's not like to do things like this. Like, I'm not sure. I mean, but I don't know. Could you go and do it like I don't know. You can't anyways do these things because you have to be chayshish, like you find in the Paiskim a lot of times that juice could spill in or whatever. I can get out of the requirement to answer this, Shiloh, because it's not kitchen friendly. A kosher home should not be run like this. So if I had to done, if you could actually do such thing, it's interesting. Now, basically, let me go weiter a second. Let's go weiter for one moment. Now, let's go weiter, and I'll tell you something extreme. I just spoke to Rabbi Yitzchak about it. What would happen, see what you heard today, if somebody were to take a roll of gefilte fish and put it in the chalent? Why would a person do that? Was he a guy? Right? Who would do such a thing? Right? So the pshat is like this. If you ever saw the roll of gefilte fish when you buy it, so it comes in the silver foil. I always tell you, silver foil is no good for Alzheimer's and these things, right? So you shouldn't leave it in the silver foil. But what do you want from me? That's what they do. Okay, so now there it is. You take it out. You know how it is. You have in the freezer, and you have silver foils of this. That's how it goes, right? And now you just take one out, or better, she says to the husband, she tells the husband, go and take out the thing. I forgot to put the kishka in the chalent. He goes to the fridge. He's like, right? It's a nice looking one of here. Takes it and puts it in. He puts it in the chalent and puts a big shmeichel, and he comes in, and then he opens up the chalent, and he opens up on Shabbos, and then he opens up the kishka, and la Yehudim, haisa, oira, fish. So now it's the chalent treif, it's the fish treif. Now, I know that there's a maisa with Maya Bronsdorfer, and I know now I'm in Meir Shardim, and because I'm in Meir Shardim, so then I'll tell you the story. I got that outside Meir Shudim. I wouldn't say the story in public. A lot of things outside Meir Shudim I wouldn't do. But this is certainly one of them that they have a whole Maisa. There's like a Kabbalah from Meir, Azam Maisa. There was Azam Maisa. Ask Rabbi Yitzchak to prot them exactly, but there was Azam Maisa that they take it, the gefilte fish that rein in the chulent and does. And by the Yerushalmis, this is dinner for the next week. It's not the so. Rav Meir, they say it's a Maisa. Rav Meir was Meiko. They say a Maisa. I think Rav Fosner was Meiko. It's like a Rebbe Shemaisa. They were Meiko. What's up, they were Meiko? How could you be Meiko now? Now it's different nuschayes. They're Meiko because they put it in and took it out miyad, and then there's a Chamuda Daniel that says it takes time for bleeds to travel anyways. One of the things that they say. I'll tell you why we're Meiko. I'll tell you why. Because fish and meat is a problem, masking. But now when it has to go derech hakeli, so if it has to go derech the keli, that means that all the fish bli have to go through the silver foil and then have to go into the. So that means the fingers aren't gonna fall off. So your gefilte fish, which has a brownish look into it now, is kosher gomer. Put a little bit more grain on it, right? And the chalent to chetzanesin. Now I've always said pimitzias. There's no way, because there's a reason why it gets all brown. Rabbi say. It's a reason why, because it's not hermetically sealed. And for those that don't know what the hermetically word is, it's not a reason why. It's not lichmein. It's not nicht in ganzen sosim. It's nicht in ganzen. It's not in ganzen badekt. It's in ganzen badekt, but it's not in ganzen hermetic. Was? The silver is going to be all soaking and dust. So I don't know. Somehow the liquid gets in. So therefore, there's no way. I have a mice with Rabbi Meir. I don't know. I don't know. Pause. Come again? No, it was definitely rap. Because what's the other cheshbon? It's like bit of mashishim or something. Okay, Rabbi say this is like Maisa from Yerushalmi to Yerushalmi in the mikvah while he's eating Yerushalmi kogel. So what exactly happened? You're in Meir Shudim now, Rabbi say. In Meir Shudim, there's lots of Maislach. There's once a Yid that walked into the shtibel over here. Right over here, the shtibel. Walked into the shtibel, and somebody said that, you heard what happened? He said, yeah, it's a lafai, it's reingefallen from the bleacher, from the Ezes Noshim, and she fell and she died. What? Yeah, how that happened? What really happened originally was the story started like this. Somebody taka from the shtibel on the top of the Ezes Noshim was looking over the Ezes Noshim, and he was holding a beitel. He was holding like a little bag or something. No, the beitel, somebody screamed at him, be careful, he's going to fall down, right? Kitzer, next guy came in and said, yeah, there was a beitel, because he heard like this from far, right? But yeah, it's a beitel that eingefallen from the Ezes Noshim. A bag fell from Des Nashim. Kids, the next guy heard from fallen from Des Nashim. I think get a Freu at the reingefallen. She fell from Des Nashim. Fell from Des Nashim. Next guy heard this. He said, "Oh, it's the Gehert. Ich bin nicht geworden. A Freu at the reingefallen from Des Nashim. She was nifter, and there's the Chever Kedusha guy." So goodbye. I don't know exactly how the story went. I don't know. But I love giving sharing a shot. You have that the item over here is listening to this year. Hey, geweldig. Is Rabbi say, let me go weiter. Now comes again the Chachmas Adam. Let's go weiter for a step because Rabbi Greenhouse got me all interested yesterday. With his challah on top of the cholent, he said, tell you it's like cholent challah. And I told him maybe it was challah kegel, maybe it was inside. No. I know what I'm talking about. The challah on top. Now, before I go weiter, you're not talking that the cholent is the lid and it doesn't fit in the whole business, when the liquid is coming over. That's not what you're talking about. Because then for shteitzach, that's actual cholent juice on your challah. And for shteitzach, you can't eat that with fish. Okay? That I'm not talking about. Okay? And I'm also not talking about if you have a piece of silver foil blocking the lid, because then for sure it's some other metzias you have to figure it out. You don't put a piece of silver foil there, do you? In other words, a piece of silver foil over the lid under the challah, blocking between the challah. No, because then for sure there's nothing that can go through, and there would be really no shilas. That would only shilah. That I'd be makel even on the French toast probably. Okay, other reasons maybe not, because you have to be chayshish to touch meat. But there, no blia can go through. It's like Yericho. Nothing goes in and nothing goes out. So those that don't know what Yericho is, you really should learn Tanakh. But that's number two. But I was very intrigued. He told me, I take the challah, I put it straight onto the cholent pot, and it gets like a cholenty taste, and it doesn't have the juice in the liquid. So I looked into this and I talked to different experts, expecting just to be mevatel this. There's no such thing, and he got the issues with his taste buds. You know what I was told? There's a lot of people that agree to this mitzvah. It has so they explained it first of all. He said it doesn't taste like cholent. It doesn't taste like cholent. There's a certain warm, nice feeling. A certain maybe mushiness, maybe moistness, maybe somethingness. It doesn't much taste like it. And somebody described it to me like this. He said, it doesn't taste like cholent. I think you'll concur, but tell me if you concur, because this is all based on your chayla. He said, it doesn't taste like cholent, but like you're eating it and it smells like cholent, like a certain feel of cholent. Do you agree with that statement or no? Yeah? He agrees with that statement. Boss? Oh, okay. So this I need a precedence in halacha. What's the din of the reyach of meat together with fish? Aren't you intrigued? Would you like not to know what's the din of the reyach of meat together with fish, or the reyach of fish together with meat, or the reyach of the bread, right? Boss? Reyach is aimed by mamish. However, the Gemara says himself, mamish this, right? The Gemara says like this. Listen to this, very interesting. The Gemara seems to say that if you take meat and fish and cook them together in the oven, and even if they're dry, that's a major problem. That's isser. We probably ask even b'diavad. That's reyach. That creates what's called reyach. Okay. What if I take the fish? You ready for this, Kinderlach? I take fish or meat. Just take a goat. You got a goat that we just spoke about, and you take that goat and you roast him. You roast him in the oven at the same time that you're baking the bread on the side of the oven. Can I now take that bread and eat her with herring? Everyone got the case? Okay. There's goat in the oven baking. There's bread in the same oven. If there would be goat and herring in the same time, no good. But let's say I have goat in the oven at the same time as bread baking in the oven. Can I now take that bread and eat it with fish? Okay, this is not like we spoke about today. This is a different shiloh. I don't know, they're all different. This has nothing to do with the Chavos Da'as or anything. So this, I found last night, is the Taz. Not the Taz in Sariyeh. This is the Taz in Kuftet Zayin. For the shortened version, there's a Chachmas Adam in the 68th Siman of the Chachmas Adam. He starts out the Siman with this message. He tells you that if you have bread, and you think this case is so not negay, oh, it's negay, I'll show you. If you have bread, and you bake this bread inside an oven at the same time with fleishik. Let's go dry for a minute. Let's make life easy a minute. Let's go dry, just a moment. Dry uncovered. Dry uncovered, but let's go dry for a second, right? Dry uncovered, that's the case he's talking about. If you go and bake bread in the oven, okay? You have bread in the oven, at the same time, there's a certain, reyach going in this oven. The oven is closed, it's got reyach, whatever. And you want to now take that bread and eat it with, what do you want to eat that bread with? Fish. Fish. You want to eat that bread with fish. The Taz says it's mutter. The Chachmas Adam says it's mutter. They sound almost that it's mutter l'chatchila. Right? It's Nagaya. You guys, Rabbi said, you bake bread. It's Nagaya, Rabbi said. What do you mean it's Nagaya? Of course it's Nagaya. If you have a fish and you make a fish, it's more Nagaya the other direction, I think. I think people do that a lot of times. So bake bread in the oven at the same time as fish, because the fish a lot of times you'll have dry. And you make, let's say, like chicken, a fish cutlets or things like that. I'm not a fish eater. What? Salmon. Salmon. You have salmon, no? Like I just said, right? You have salmon. Salmon's the red one, right? It's in halacha. It's enough. Okay. You have this, and there she is, dry, right? Dry like a desert, in the same oven with the bread. And now you want to know, could I take that bread and eat it on Friday night with my meat? Right? The answer is yes. Yes, it's the same type of logic that the fish creation of the problem is not, always. It's got its rules. Now, can I also say that, you'll see why I'm getting to in a moment. Can I also say that halacha l'maisa on our bread cooking the oven open with zayah of a fish, or zayah of a chicken, or zayah of a meat? I must admit I'm a little bit more scared. The Gemara is talking about reyach. It's not talking about zayah. Zayah means liquid, and I'm a little bit more scared. I'll admit it. And, I'm not there that it could be mutter, but I wouldn't do it, certainly not. And if there would be a shayla, it's not pashut to me. It's not pashut, but it's not our sugya, and I don't want to be ma'arich on it. I just wanted to match up. But I just wanted to show you, Rabbi Green, now this is what I think is a good dimyan to your shayla. It's a good dimyan. Here I have bread that I don't know why and what, but I'm feeling over here. I know that the bliyas are not creating fish problems because ani mamid ben munish leim with some cipher and siman kuf aleph. Okay, and I believe that the chavis das is not a problem. And I also don't have liquid floating on top of my challah, so it's not actual liquid. Elamai, it's going through bliya, but he's telling me it has some type of children's feel, and that's this. That's this. And you know what? You can eat it with fish. You can eat it mamish with fish. I couldn't imagine eating with fish because, like, the tasting of the fish together with the meat. But the maisa, and the Velta probably does, right? The Velta probably eats it together with fish. And look at this. Now you understand. You understand why? Elamai, if you're a little bit nervous, so in the back of your mind, you know anyways that the Mishabru and Siman Kufay and Beit. Should I tell it to them, Jaime, or no? The first time I said Jaime in such a long time. Jaime. Should I tell them the Mishabru? Where's Mishabru? Kufay Gimel. I can find Beit. Kufay Gimel. Mishabru over there says that today, fish and meat, the sakana is not betoikif. Maybe today it's not like in the times of Chazal. So we don't always apply that. But when you have svekis and whatnot and things like that, there's a makam to be makel. So therefore, over here, there is a makam to be makel. Is that crystal clear? So I don't want to confuse the item. Do not cook fish and meat in the oven at the same time if one of them are open. Don't do that. If both of them are closed, I'm okay with that. Could you cook fish in the oven at the same time as the challah? Certainly if one of them's closed, another shayla. Could you cook it when it's open? It sounds like it's even the chatchila from the Chacham Saddam, but today I'd worry about zayah. I wouldn't do it the chatchila, I would close it. I wouldn't do it the chatchila. I don't know if I would do it the chatchila because of zayah. That's a chay. Also, you have to remember, Baisa Chamira, Sakanta, Mesura. Chamira, Sakanta, Mesura. You do have to worry a little bit more when it comes to inyanim of sakana. Now, I'll tell you two last cases, and then we're going to go weiter. We're going to have a lot of fun today, Bez Hashem. Then we're going to start the shir. Right? So you have like this. You have someone had a case that fish oil, when he was taking it off of he wasn't taking it off. He was taking I guess he was frying some type of a flounder or whatever you called it before, right? And when he went like this, right, that's not important what happened, but because there is some oil spritzed, right? You explain the whole thing. Whenever they ask you a shiloh, they tell you the whole tyrus, right? What happened was, I went like this, and it tipped the machbas, it tipped the frying pan, and the oil spritzed out. The oil spritzed, and the oil hit the outside of the fleshik pot. So now you would know how to answer that shiloh. You would know that there's no problem at all. You would know that since we're dealing with fish, I'm just saying, there's a case that happened a couple of days ago, but now you know how to answer. There's no shayla at all. Since we're dealing with fish, so the oil is a fishy oil and went on to the outside of the fleshik pot, and that does not aser. You have to keep in mind, that, okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. So now, go back to Hilchos Shabbos a minute. Go back to Hilchos Shabbos. So what happens, listen closely, and be careful before you answer. What happens, this story happened on Erev Pesach. Erev Someone made not Erev Pesach. Erev Shavuos. Erev Shavuos. Somebody made a boiling hot, he made a corned beef. Okay, he made a corned beef. Now, the way he made this corned beef is they put it in a bag. Everyone knows what I'm talking about? They have these like bags, you put it in there, and you put it inside a pot with water all around it. I think it's called sous vide. What? Sous vide, right? Sous vide. So you put it inside there, and that water, he took that water, okay, ready? He took that water and he poured that water into the sink. And what was sitting there in the sink? One of these, like you sell these cutlets of fish and things like that, right? These cutlets of fish and all these things. You know what I'm talking about? And they sell them, they look like, one on top of the other, and they're wrapped in a piece of plastic. You know what I'm talking about? They sell the chicken like that, I know, but they sell the fish like that also, okay? Yeah, like cutlets. They're like fish, what are they called? Filet of fish. And they sell, and on top was a plastic, and it was defrosting, and it was sitting there inside the sink defrosting, and he took the water from, everyone has the case? Yes, this is my pot, right? It used to be a fish pot probably. This is my pot. Inside, no, because it's mamish, that's the size that everybody uses. You know what I'm talking about? Right? They have that like oval shaped pot. And inside there was boiling hot water. That inside that boiling hot water was cooking what? It was cooking meat. But the meat was in a plastic bag. And then he took that meat juice, that soupy meat, whatever, and he poured it onto a fillet of fish. Fillets of fish, like 20 fillets of fish that are all there, sitting there defrosting in the sink. Does everybody have the case? Okay, clear? The fish was covered with that thin layer of what? That they have that like plasticky layer that's over it. And everyone knows what I'm talking about now? Good. Now, the first thing you want to wonder is the maisa, the pot, is that really fleshik juice? Because it has to go derech a plastic. And maybe this gets involved in what we were talking about. That was the Kallus. So Maisa, I just in my own thought. My wife was there, so I asked her, "What's the metzias of this bag?" She told me that bag is one big. It's got holes in it. It's a holy bag, and on top you find all this like she said when you pour out the liquid, it's got all this like schmutz. There's all this like fat and schmutz all over it. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but there's holes in this bag, and it's the meat is cooking in the bag. Does everybody agree with that metzias? That's what my wife told me. I mean, she's right, and you're all wrong, even if you disagree. But I just want to know in general if I'm going to have trouble saying this in other places. But that's the metzias. And then she said that on top there's like fat juice and all of a sudden. She said there's horns over there. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? Sammy, why? You upset with me? Well, you know what I'm talking about? But you agree, no? Sambo, you get, okay. So let's assume that that's not going to help us here at all and that the juice is fleishiks, okay? But Rabbi say, boss, it was coming off of the fire. When there was fire, there was water on top of the fire. What is he doing to me? It was cooking the us. Maybe it's not a sous vide. I don't know. The way it was explained to me, the shayla was took a pot, put it on a fire, there's water, and then you put the bag in there and you let it cook. Not a sous vide. I told you it's not a sous vide. Right? What are you talking about? What are you telling me it's a sous vide for? Jason, why are you bringing in sous vide? It's no shayla to sous vide. Kids are, well, it's not a sous vide. I knew it. I also thought it wasn't a sous vide. I go upon them. Sous vide bags don't have holes. Rabbi Rosenberg and you, your teammate over here. Kapanim is a baisai. So now back to Hilchos Shabbos. Are we able to be makel on this fish? What is this in halacha, Rabbi Isai? This is what? What is it when you take a boiling hot pot and you pour her onto fillets of fish, whatever? What is she? That's iroi. Kli Rishon, remember this is your sugya. This is Sifyod. Iroi, Kli Rishon is mevashal what? Kedei klipa. That plastic, l'chayr is what? She's a klipa. Why not? What do you say? Oh, so somebody, what? Oh, so that plastic, that plastic, does she have holes? What? No, not that she, what are you causing? The fish doesn't have holes. Why should we believe that the fish bag has holes in it? And I don't know if it has holes. It gets over time. It gets melted or something. I don't know what. It goes through or the water seeps through or whatever. Us? Come again? Well, he says it's not waterproof. Rabbi Fulda says not waterproof, which is scary. I'm not going to be the first to admit it's scary. Us? What do you say? You're not going to be able to tell. How are you going to be able to tell? You mean you'll pick up the thing and then pour water through and see if the water went through? Say, all right, what? I can see. So it's all wet. It's all wet from defrosting and everything. I also don't eat fish, but nah, because it's like pastrami water. It's not like corned beef water. It's not. No. Don't cause trouble. No. What? Mm-mm. What? Buzz? I wasn't so scared. I first of all, I'm ani mamin b'muna shlema. The taka, I don't have to be chayshish over here. That the klipa is a klipa. I don't have to be chayshish that this hole's over here. If it's a regular saran wrap, a regular wrap, why should I? Sometimes my wife told me the way they do it is like they wrap it around like a couple of times. That's how they do it. They just like wrap it around a couple of times. Why are you causing trouble? You also know that they wrap it around a couple of times, right? They wrap it around a couple of times. What am I being chayshish? Maybe there's a hole and what? And punked went there while I was pouring? Wait a minute. Elam, I know because it was like nifsek kiluach. But that's already who says. I don't know. Maybe it went over there. It stopped. It was nifsek kiluach. It's a shtickle suffix. Once it's a shtickle suffix, and I don't have to worry because also today the Mogen Avram is also a big hefset. So maybe the Mogen Avram is right that today there's not such a sakana and your fingers aren't going to fall off. The kids are all these together was the reason why I was makel. Right? My wife was there. She said, "Wow, I'm married to him." That's like a shmaka kula, But when you learn it inside, it seems like not such a great kula, right? You understand what I'm saying? It's one of these things, like, if it would ever happen, you say it's mutter, what? They would give you the guy the Nobel Peace Prize. Look at this guy's unbelievable. Now you see, it's not so scary. But am I right that your day is not so scary after today? Were you scared today? Ooh, what? Wasn't so scary, no? Scary, no? Oh, the glass is scary? So scary over there. You eat the whole mask spots over there. Look at these guys. Look at those scary looking guys. No, you know what I'm saying, not so scary. Let's go weiter. Was? Oh my goodness, we did nothing today. What happened over here? What? But there's a klipa in between. Ira is only mevashel l'kedei klipa. Ira only has the ability to cook the outermost layer. That's the whole sif yud. That's what we discussed yesterday. Ira is only mevashel l'kedei klipa. So I cooked the plastic. It's true. If I say that plastic, don't eat it. Right? I don't even know. Right. I don't know. Buzz, come again. Boiling hot. It's yad lettuce by. It's yad nichmetz by. The fingers would fall off. Right? But it doesn't matter. It only boils the outside layer. Clear? Now, by say, one last thing. Oh my goodness, we didn't even start here. This has never happened in this year. I might as well tell you one last thing. Oh my goodness, and we have to go back to the shadow of nifsek kiluach with the boilers and what's called our sinks and everything. Oh my goodness. All right, so we have to. What? First 2 minutes more, but let's finish up here. What do we have? We have a few minutes here, right? We don't learn anything here. Rabbi say, one last thing. Somebody had another shot. I like this one. If you had potatoes and you cut up these little, you get the whole stories when people tell you that when they're all their personal life, cuts up the potatoes very thin like that and whatever, right? And they were in the oven cooking. And when he took out the potatoes, so a few of them fell. He didn't realize it. And it was on a grate. It was on, it wasn't on a tray. It was on a grate. And the grate fell through the grate and it fell into the fish. It fell into the fish. There was fish cooking on the second tray underneath, and it fell into the fish. That was it, right? It didn't bother him originally to be cooking potatoes and fish. The potatoes he was going to be using for a meat meal. It didn't bother him to be cooking them in the oven at the same time, even though it was open, because he said, look, the Maisa, Saif, he's himself a shtickl Talmid Chacham. He said, look, Saif, the fish was basically dry. It's a little bit liquid there that it shouldn't burn. And also, whatever tiny amount of zayah, so it's blocked because he had a massive tray over there of the potatoes. The whole entire tray was basically the potatoes. Right? That's why I think it fell, because they have those like thin trays, those little like those trays. He had tons of potatoes that he cut up onto this thin tray, and when he took it out, so a bunch of the potatoes fell through the grates, and they fell into the fish. Kids are afterward, he didn't think, or his wife was doing it, or whatever, and she took the potatoes and she put them together with the other potatoes. So now you have, let's say, 10 potatoes in there out of the 50 potatoes, the cut up slivers of potatoes, 10 potatoes out of the 50 potatoes that have on them mamish real fish juiciness or whatever, moisture. That's not zaya. That's real fishy, right? Real fishy. And they're all mixed together with the other potatoes. They're all mixed together with alla kartoffelach and alla bulbus and alla erdeflach. Verstehst? I want them to understand. So now, I want to eat my potatoes with my meat. That's why I made potatoes. I'm a meat and potato kind of guy. I want to eat my potatoes and munkacha. I want to eat my meat and potato. No, so he says he wants to know. He was at my minion. This fellow. He wants to know, can I eat my potatoes with the meat? What do you say? So what am I going to tell him? I'm going to start telling him bittul and this and that. I want Baitzei Yantiv, his wife, to come to me and say to me, "What'd you do, my husband? What'd you do?" But I want that. Right? I'm Sakana is going to go. And that's real. There we don't have any of our Zaya stuff that we spoke about today, right? Because they're the potato itself that has on it fins and scales now and everything. And now you're going to take that potato and you're going to eat her together with a piece of meat. That's not much like fish and meat. All these things we talk with Zayas and Plias and that. That's all when you're dealing with that. Here we're talking about real juice of the potato over here, right? So you guys could be make over here or no? What do you think? That's a tough one. No, I don't think it can be make even. Right? Huh? This guy asked me, I'm having the potatoes with chicken, Grata. I want to know, could we be mako because it's chicken and chicken, you know what? You know what. I don't know, I said maybe only the toes will fall off. I told him etzbaot shebaraglayim. That's what they call them Israelis. Etzbaot shebaraglayim ulai yipol. Ulai. Akatanchik. That's what I told. Who needs that? Okay. But we need that guy in the corner there sometimes, right? Who needs it? Don't do it. The Aruch HaShulchan says don't do it. What? God, it was a Sephardi. There's a Birkei Yosef, a Chida that says maybe it's only on cheese, only on fish and meat, not in fish and chicken. Sorry, what were you asking, Rabbi Bolton? No? What? So I don't think we can be make on this, no? I don't think so. No? Not everything is mutter, Rabbi say. No? I told him, eat the potatoes before you have the meat. I mean, I don't think you can eat it together with it. No? What did he say? What? I don't think you can make it. Sorry? Why not? Wouldn't hurt. Well, wash it. Yeah, why not? I don't know. Maybe can we make one? We do. No, this is not fake. This is real. I'm actually thinking. What can we do? Because I remember there was something that I thought of there. At the time, I told them this is not something you do. And tell them there's maybe this bittul. We have bittul baroiv. Let's do all the math here. Maybe it's bittul baroiv. It's only bittul baroiv, right? He has 10 potatoes, connected 50 potatoes, right? But sakana, it's machlokes, and they're talking about bittul b'shishim. By bittul baroiv, it's a little bit more scary for me to be, it's a little bit scary for me. That means on each and every potato, right? Maybe she's not the one here. How'd you help me? It's nepach. Who says there's nepach on sakana? It's a little scary. By shishim, everybody understands what I'm saying. By shishim, it gets in spattle the tam, and maybe it doesn't have the tam anymore, right? Here, it's not in spattle the tam. It's just that on each and every one, when I pick her up, so that I'm not doing something wrong. Okay, here, but he might not be here on my Shabbos, right? Or his toes might not be here, right? Boss. It doesn't matter, but now it doesn't matter. That juice is there. She's banned on top of the potato. What? I hear, but maybe there's Ben there. Maybe there's Ben, right? On one of these potatoes, maybe it's Ben. So if there's maybe Ben there, how am I going to eat that maybe Ben? You're right, maybe there's not. But maybe there's like one that fell in with juicy and has juice. When I say Ben, I mean one of them that was mamish has a fishiness on it, right? So how can I take that and eat it with meat? I don't know. Elamai, you have a fake over here. You have the Mogen Avram and maybe Taka, it's not bad. Okay, but fake, he still might not be here. Might say Yontif, he might not be. I don't know. I wasn't Makel. I thought afterward maybe Shtickle Kula, but now I think I get outside. I was driving over today, but now I wrote it down here on the side, and I don't think it's true. So, okay, so we didn't do anything today. So because we didn't do anything today, did I ever tell you about OUF? Ever tell you guys about OUF? Like OUD and OU this, right? OUF is OU fish. You ever see it? You ever saw it? I never saw it. Worst is her sauce. Not worst is side. The fine people say worst is her sauce. You know what that is? That's worst is her sauce has in it little anchovy loch, right? I hope they're kosher, right? But so you. They have in there little fishies in there, right? So they say, interesting, they say that they write OUF if the fish content in there is not batal b'shishim, okay? If it's batal b'shishim, then they don't write it. They have like all their rules. They don't write it. If it's batal b'shishim, they don't write it, okay? Because they're going to be making like the Taz, like the Shach, okay? But the worst is to show us, if it's not, they write on OUF. You've seen it? You've actually seen it? OUF? You've seen it, right? Like a UFO. But oh, no, but the marshmallows, something else. The marshmallows, they never write on the marshmallows. That you have to know about it. If you see an OUF, you better not put her on the meat. But you have to know another thing. if you buy Worcestershire sauce and it says on it OU, you don't know that it doesn't have fish. Actually, it probably does have fish, right? But it's batal b'shishim. And they're being mako like the shitas that hold that there's no problem of bittul b'shishim when you're putting it together with the meat, right? And here it's going to be buttered with a lot more. It's already buttered even inside the sauce, right? If you want to go and put that on the meat and whatever, I hope we'll see you tomorrow. It's a shiloh shach and it does. Okay. My side, I think the belt is somewhat mako on. Okay. But the side, but the marshmallows, they don't write OUF. What's the shot of the marshmallows? In the marshmallows, they have kosher fish gelatin. They have kosher fish gelatin in the marshmallows. Now, they don't write OUF. Now, we know American Yankee, a pastime of the English do this too. They take the marshmallows and they put it onto the barbecue. That barbecue's right? So what the Americans do is, Bali Taiva, they take the skewer, these Bali Taiva, and they put it on top of the, we're over time, but one more minute. But they take it and they put it on top of a skewer, and they put that skewer, and then they put it straight into the barbecue, and they eat together the mamish with, it has on it the schmutz of the barbecue. It had on it steak and goat and all types of things. Rabbi Danziger is getting hungry just thinking about it. Just thinking about it. You see how his mouth is watering. But they don't write on it OUF. It's made with fish gelatin. So they're doing it, and the fish gelatin, there's a lot of gelatin in there, but it's definitely not batal b'shishim inside the marshmallows. That's what gives it its tangy taste. And you can use it afterward to drive your car like a tire, right? The same exact thing that they put inside tires and gum. So what's this? This gelatin business, is this something that I have to be worried about? So the OU holds no. Why is the OU hold no? Because come on. In the first place, what's gelatin? It's made out of the bones of the fish. And who says that has a din of an oichel b'chlal? Maybe the bones of the fish isn't even in oichel, and it's not even in yoni kashrus b'chlal. You can have the vela bones because it's no longer food. It's no longer edible. They put all types of sugar. So if you take a table and you make it into sugar, so you claim that's a food, So then that's one side. But another thing is they say, and who says b'chlal? Maybe there's no sakana. Even if you don't agree normally, you say gelatin, I can't, which they'll use machmer, that you can't use trait gelatin. They don't use trait for fish gelatin, right? So even if you hold normally, you can't use gelatin, mitat kashrus, okay? Because you hold maybe it is an oichel. But who says that as a sakana? When we come to fish, we find that when things were nishtana, even through a keli, it doesn't have tam and bleed. So who says that when you take the kli, the fish, the bone, and you turn it into clays? You took the bone, you took the scale, and you took a fin, and you took a clay, the dust, and all types of things. What's the thing called the beak? It's not called the shark has, right? You take all those zachin, and you go and you grind it up, and you make it into something which no shaykhis, it doesn't have any fish taste at all, or anything like that. So who says there's a sakana in that? So what's the answer? Anybody know? I don't know. Because Al told us that fish and meat is a problem. Did they mean just the fish, basar, or the bone also? I don't know, anybody know? And then once the bone got turned into a different thing, so now that it got turned into a different thing, so then no longer it even has a shame fish on it, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. You don't see people, the toes falling off and everything, right? I don't know. Is there a makom v'mekel? Definitely, because the svara is a very good svara, plus the magen Avram that maybe today it's not b'toikif. It's definitely a makom v'mekel. Do I do it? It's none of your business. It's none of your business. Marshmallow. You can eat the marshmallow. That's not the question. The question is, could you take the marshmallow fluff and put it inside your chicken soup? What? No. You don't have to be machmir about eating it after. That far, I don't know if you have to go. You mean mash? Yeah, I guess so. You'd have to wash out your mouth also, whatever. Okay, I don't know how far. But I'm talking about with your mamish taking the marshmallow and putting it in the barbecue. I just remembered one more case, because we didn't learn today anyway, so I don't feel bad saying one more case. But I just want to tell you one more case. And you see, it's murder. The internet connection just became unstable now at the end of this year. I want to tell you one more case. I just remember the case while I was talking. Someone once took a pot. I don't remember which gender was which, if the troublemaker was the fish or the chicken, but it doesn't matter. He took a tray of fish, and he put it into the oven. It was Erev Shabbos when all the problems start. He put it into the oven, and he put it onto a tray in the oven, a fleishik oven. But beforehand, that oven, the gravy, let's say it was the meat gravy or the chicken gravy, had spilled all over the tray. The meat gravy had spilled all over the tray. Once the meat gravy spilled all over the tray, okay? So now he took it without thinking. Erev took the fish, put it in, and slapped it straight down onto all that juice and all that gravy. And then he cooked the chicken, the fish in that matzah. Let's see what you learned today. Kosher, Treif, what do you say? Kosher or not kosher? Not kosher? Why not kosher? Really? I thought fish doesn't go through. Fish doesn't go through. Fish doesn't go through. What? Oh, the only thing is that you would have to ask a question over here that, wait, if there's Zayah, I'd have to worry that it's true. That which is coming up from underneath is not the problem. Because we saw today, it doesn't go through. Rabbi said you're adept to answer up all these questions. And if you don't know what the adept word means, it's skilled. You are skilled to answer all these questions. However, there might be juice all over the place, and then that juice floats up and then floats into the chicken, into the whatever gender is. That's very scary. Maisa, generally, that's not the case. Generally, it's not the case that he puts it into a puddle. I mean, that's usually not what goes on, right? Normal human beings don't put the the normal human being doesn't take a tray of fish and put it into a puddle of juice that's there. That's not a normal case. It's normal that there should be liquid there. I asked the person, he said to me, I'm not sure. First of all, you would know if there was, number one. Number two is we don't see it there now, so we don't machzakin every yutza, and it's another suffix, and b'diavad. In this case, we are make good. Tomorrow we'll actually learn. No games. Everybody says, unbelievable. What happened? Unbelievable. How little we learn over here. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, coming.
Like having